Welcome to the Ventura Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Bonnie Rose. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm going to turn our word over to our board president, Lonnie Cassidy.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. And we have a very fun service planned for you today. Our beloved Kusala is joining us. And no, that's not the real one, but a great likeness. And our wonderful Jennifer and Jessica. See? Sorry, Carol. Karen.
No.
I know. I think Jessica would be a Jennifer.
Well, she said to me when I said, by the way, Jennifer meant you, when Doreen was praying, she said that a lot of people mistake her for a Jennifer. They call her Jennifer.
There you go.
Is that true? Yes? Okay, good. Good to know.
Sorry. This is just who I am.
Okay, take it away, Connie. Keep
Okay, and then we have Dorothy praying us in today.
Hey.
Okay, Barbara, let's have some fun today.
Right. Thanks, everybody. What do I do next? Oh.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Bill Hadris with Youth and Family. Do you notice in the winter things go dormant or lie still? There are times throughout our lives that things change or end, but there is always opportunities for new beginnings. So let's see if you can see this or not. Take this clove of garlic, for instance. It's all flaky, or I guess it's a full head of garlic, and it crumbles and seems dead and dying and everything else, right? But inside, anyway, inside, there's like a dozen or 20 or perhaps more new beginnings ready to be planted and spring forth as new plants in this world, a new beginning. So with that, I invite you to think of some yourself. Close your eyes for a second, take a breath, and think. Have you ever moved or started a new school, or perhaps had a friend move away? How did it feel? Have you ever had to lock yourself in your home, avoid people at school, work, or in social gatherings, and wear a face covering when you are around them? How did that feel? Now I'd like you to think of a meal you had in the past, one you love to do over and over and over again. The food, the place, the people that were there, the wonderful time. How did it feel? We experience a lot of change and loss in our lives. There's one thing that is permanent, and that is God through all eternity. So I invite you to repeat after me. I turn within to God.
I turn within to God.
And trust and know that all is well.
And trust and know that all is well.
And so it is.
All right. So now it's time to pray. So Doreen is ready to pray for us. And by the way,
I get to apologize to Jessica for calling her Jennifer.
Yeah, and I also wanted to let you know that he was absent today. He's fine. He just had a gardening crisis, so he's at home dealing with that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So can I have everyone just take a moment and close your eyes? And for all you practitioners that are at home, join us by standing and holding this magnificent center with love. And so as we turn within and we take this wonderful Sunday and close our eyes, just imagine looking up. And as you look up, just remember that there truly is this magnificent power and presence that lives within you, breathes within you, moves and loves every action that you take, agrees with everything that you do. And so it is this magnificent presence that is here with us today, is here with us at this service, is just loving every moment of it, loving everything that's to come forth, knowing that everything that has been prepared is flowing in perfect action, that our loving Reverend Kusala inspires us with his charm and his beautiful, loving words, and that the music by Jessica just inspires us, lifts our hearts up, and allows us to just be in this magnificent moment of remembering the truth that we are the love that God is. And so I just say thank you, thank you, thank you, God, for this, knowing that this service is absolutely perfect. I just say thank you again, and I release this word into the power of the law, and so it is. Amen.
So let's just continue to breathe into that spaciousness that Doreen brought us to with her wisdom and her words, her heart and her being. We breathe in, we breathe out. We allow ourselves to be here. Letting go, and yet embracing this present moment. Feeling it expand in our heart space. And just sighing into it. Recognizing the grace and the glory in everything. We inhale deeply, and then let us exhale together, gently opening our eyes in love and in service to what is, as it is, and so it is. Namaste. Thanks so much, Chris and Jessica. Beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and invite our guest speaker to come forward. This is our friend Kusala, who we love dearly. Let him come forth and inspire us. Thank you.
That was wonderful. That's good. Well, I'm happy to be here today. What a wonderful day this is. Sunday, it's March, just another day, but every day is the best day if you look at it that way. I'm going to talk about getting inside. How do we find our way in? And I wanted it to be a bit cryptic because I thought it would be more interesting than just say blah, blah, blah. So it's about finding your way into yourself, into your mind, into your consciousness. One of the things I found with my sense doors is they always point out. My sight, and my hearing, and my smell, and my taste, and my touch. It's always about what's out there. And that allows me to survive, avoid possible death or destruction. But how about wanting to get inside? How do you do that? And when somebody said meditation to me the first time, I didn't really know what they meant or how to go about doing it. And then I started to listen to people talk about it. I started to read books about it and get an intellectual understanding of what it might be like to meditate. And I imagined myself sitting cross-legged on the floor and leaving my body and floating around, looking at all sorts of wonderful things. Well, that wasn't the kind of meditation I ended up doing, if that even is a kind of meditation. But I said to myself, okay, how can I get in? You know, the door seems to be locked for some reason. And how can I get in and use what I see inside or feel inside or intuit inside to make my life better? So the first thing I did was sit down. I sat down cross-legged, and I just sat there. I didn't have a technique. I just wanted to feel what it was like to sit down and prepare to look inside. In the same way you might go to a movie theater and find your seat and sort of relax into it and get ready for the movie to start. So I was sitting quietly on the floor and not doing anything at all and realized that my mind was racing from thought to thought. And it wasn't any logical order. It was simply this thought and that thought and this thought and that thought, and one didn't even seem to lead to the next one. It was very arbitrary. So I thought to myself, well, maybe I can stop my thinking. But then how could I stop my thinking if I'm the one that's thinking? You know, it's like the eye looking at itself and the ear hearing itself and the nose smelling itself. You know, there's a function that self has, and one of the main functions of self is to think. And just because you go to sleep at night doesn't mean you stop thinking. And I have found about 3:30 in the morning, whoa, it's a burst of energy, thought after thought. And then you try to get back to sleep, and you have more thoughts about getting back to sleep. And finally, you just sort of fall unconscious for a couple hours, and the sun comes up, and you start your day, and you continue to think, but at a different level, in a different way. So, Buddhism has basically two forms of meditation. We have tranquility meditation, which according to me leads to compassion. And we have insight meditation, which according to me leads to wisdom. So I've got to qualify it as according to me, because everybody who talks about this has a different take on it, a different perspective. So my perspective is, I'm going to start with compassion. How do I raise my compassion to accept and embrace all the stuff in the world that is really difficult to embrace? Really difficult sometimes to be kind, because you know it could be different, and you know it should be different, but it's not. It's just the way it is. And you watch the news, and you listen to people talk, and you go on Facebook, and you go, my, what's wrong with the world? Well, actually, the world has always been this way. And it could have been worse, 1,000 or 2,000 years ago. You didn't have that much to think about, but you sure had a lot of stuff to do just to survive. And so here we are in the 21st century, and sitting on the floor and taking our position, getting comfortable. We're getting ready to go inside. So there are 40 different techniques in tranquility meditation to allow you to go to a place of extreme concentration. And that's what I started with, extreme concentration. I used breath counting as a technique to go and follow the breath, because to be honest with you, watching your breath or feeling your breath for a half hour is probably one of the most boring things you're ever going to do. So I added a little fun. I counted. Well, counting 1 to 10 and 10 to 1 for a half hour isn't very exciting either. But the exciting part is to watch how your mind keeps rejecting the counting. It gets bored. It doesn't want to do it anymore. It wants to start multiplying and subtracting just because it's more exciting. And you say, no, we're just going to count the sensation of breath, 1 to 10, 10 to 1, and you sit and you count and you count, and all of a sudden, there's a little change of consciousness where you start to feel a little different about the breath and about your counting and even about yourself. And now what happens is the past thoughts that we've had our whole life start to fall away and not be important and not even be accessible. And all the future thoughts about what's going to happen and how it's going to happen starts to slow down and starts to fall away, and we abandon them. And we abandon the past and we abandon the future so we can be here now, according to Ram Dass. Cool. So what's it feel like to be here now? Well, we have sensation, and we have thinking, and that's pretty much it. Sometimes there's a couple concepts connected with that, but it's not a big thing. It's not an extravagant thing. It's just sort of happening. And everything starts to settle, like a glass of muddy water that's put on the counter. And the mud starts to settle to the bottom of the glass. And you start to have this sense of clarity about the present moment experience of your life. And you're going deeper and deeper, and there's 5 aspects of getting deep: applied thought, sustained thought, happiness, bliss, and equanimity. And those are different concepts that are used in samatha meditation or tranquility meditation to sort of identify what level you're at in your focus and your concentration. And when you get to the deepest part of your concentration, you only have one characteristic left, and that is called equanimity, perfect balance of mind. And there you are, sitting on the floor with the perfect balance of mind, and you start to feel self, ego, personality. It starts to dissolve. It starts to go away. And sometimes there's fear, because what happens if it doesn't come back? Who will I be then? It always seems to come back. But sometimes just a little lighter, a little more transparent, a little less you, and a little more them. Wow, okay. So now we're getting to this place where compassion becomes accessible to you, and kindness becomes accessible to you, because you realize that you don't exist in the way you always thought you did. There's no personal event that you could call you. It's very much a process. And it's interconnected and it's interdependent with all things all the time. And what you start to see is that they are you and you are them. And now, if that person is in a situation that causes them to suffer and feel uncomfortable, there's a part of you now that suffers and feels uncomfortable because you're not separate any longer. You spent years in school being separate, having all these concepts and ideas. You spent years in a profession, perhaps, where you were separate and identified as something in particular. You know, you were the principal, you were the teacher, you were the student, you were the CEO, you were the president. You needed to be somebody, and in order to be somebody, you needed to be separate, and you needed to identify with that. And now all that identification has fallen away. And there you sit, connected, at home with the universe. And this compassionate heart arises and gets stronger and stronger. Okay, that's one wing of the Buddhist bird. The second wing is insight into the true nature of reality. Unfortunately, when you go to that place and experience the true nature of reality, you will never be the same again. But don't let that scare you, because we're never the same again anyway, moment to moment. We think we are. We have a sense of self that travels throughout the whole day, throughout the week, throughout the month. But that sense of self denies the fact that everything is in a constant state of flux and change. That yesterday we had a good hair day, and today we didn't, but we still had hair, and then we don't. And you go, wow, is that me? Yes, that's you in all your many manifestations. But the wisdom you're trying to seek in understanding the true nature of the world is all things change all the time. All things are ultimately unsatisfactory, and I don't exist the way I think I do. Now, if you can wrap your mind around that, what you start to see is that because you're locked into a person or personality, because you're locked into an idea of how you're supposed to be or how you could be, you are limited. You will never be free. You are imprisoned by the concepts of who you are and who people want you to be. And I run across that all the time, and maybe Reverend Bonnie does too, when you are part of the clergy and people expect you to be a certain way, and they expect you to speak in a skillful, wholesome way. And sometimes you just want to sort of get down to brass tacks and tell the world what you really think about it. We have an applause over there. So there you go. So that would ruin everybody's idea of how you're supposed to be. So you have to be really careful all the time when you're supposed to be somebody. But when you start to get free, when you start to see that you are always in a constant state of flux, and what that means is you always have the potential of being something else every moment of your life. You're not stuck. You're never going to be the same very long. And how nice is that? And I know there are moments when we want to be the same because it just seems wonderful, and you seem so smart and rested, and you took your vitamins, and just everything is falling into place. Enjoy it, because it's not going to be there very long. And when things aren't as good as it's supposed to be, and you have a little more suffering and discomfort than you wish you had, well, take an ibuprofen. Actually, that's not going to last very long either. You will only have discomfort for a certain amount of time. And then there's only two ways it's going to go. The first way it's going to go is it's going to get better. The second way it's going to go is you will die. So most of us get better. That's a positive thought to have. Now, this idea of everything being ultimately unsatisfactory, it is, believe me, I've studied it, I've seen it, I've lived it. Even the good stuff changes. Everything has an expiration date. It does. I had that insight just a few months ago, that everything has an expiration date. And no matter how good it is, or how bad it is, it too will go away. So, can we deal with the suffering? Can we understand that it's just the natural order of things, that the whole world is there and we are suffering because we see the suffering? We have been taught to suffer. It is a concept. Suffering does not exist in the real world. Suffering exists in the way you experience the real world. And if you want to end the suffering, you have to change the way you experience the world. And meditation is a wonderful vehicle to do that. And then we have, I'm not who I think I am. I don't even exist the way I think I do, and yet when I wake up in the morning, it's me. And I look in the mirror and it's me. You know, and I get in my car and it's me, and no matter where I go, there I am. And I'm going, wow, okay, how do I lighten that burden of being me? Because it can be a burden. It's hard. After 71 years of existence, I carry a lot of me around all the time. Baggage, it's there. And the older I get, the more I think about the baggage that I can't let go of. And all the things I wish I had packed differently in the baggage and didn't because I was young and foolish, and now I'm old and wise, and now I have to think about that all the time. Oh man. So if I can just look at myself in a different way and say, you know what, at every moment in my life I did the best I could. And ultimately, there was nobody there anyway. It was just a set of circumstances and the idea of me, mine, and I in a certain situation. And that's what happened. And the value of good or bad, skillful or unskillful, is arbitrary. You know, in the 70s, things were a lot different than they are now. And a lot of things were good and skillful in the 70s, which are frowned upon now. And you go, whoa, okay. So everything changes. Ultimately, everything becomes unsatisfactory. And look what I did, and look, there was nobody doing it, and I still think that I did it. And it hurts so much. And then you have this really weird thing come up when you find your spiritual path, when you find your calling. And it's called destination addiction. And you know what that is? That's when you're more concerned about where you're going than where you are. And if that's the case, you're never going to be happy right now, because your happiness is always the next job, the next car, the next person, the next apartment. But it's not now. And you're going to be unhappy for the rest of your life if you suffer from that. So how do you get rid of the destination? Well, you get rid of the destination because the most important thing is the journey. It's what you're doing now to get there. It's not there because what you have in your mind when you finally get there will not be the thing. It's not going to be that because you projected it based on illusion, based on books, based on people talking to you about how great it's going to be to go to Sydney, Australia. And you're finally in Sydney, Australia, and what do you see? Buildings, cars, asphalt, turnarounds. You know, okay, I could have seen that same stuff in Santa Monica. Yeah, I know, but you're in Sydney. Okay, so trying to get someplace, and then when you finally do, it never seems to be really as good as you had imagined. And that's what I feel sorry for when people have so much money. because they work their whole life to collect little pieces of paper. And they have it, and it's stored away, and they kind of have hundreds or millions, and it's just sort of stored away. And are they happy? You know what? Sometimes it doesn't look like they are. They could have anything they wanted. They could live any place they wanted to live. And they just keep collecting paper. And then one day they die. And now every relative they ever had is going to fight over all that paper. And they didn't use it to any good. So I want enough money to the end of my life, but I don't want to just have so much money that I worked my whole life to have money. I wanted to have an experience. I wanted to have an idea of what it meant to be free. And unfortunately, money doesn't make you free. So we have this compassion, and now we have this wisdom, and we put those both together, and now we have the two wings of Buddhism, which allows us to be in the world in a much different way. And you're probably going to lose some friends along the way, and you're probably going to confuse some family members as well, because they're going to be thinking, what's wrong with this guy or gal? Why don't they see it the way I do? Why aren't they anything? Why do they insist on being nothing? You know, and ultimately, nothing is probably the most truth you're ever going to experience. When you come to that place in your life and you say honestly to yourself, I don't know. Everything then becomes a possibility. Everything. Don't know. In Zen, don't know mind is the ideal. So why do you do it? Don't know. Why do you meditate? Don't know. But it doesn't mean you stop meditating. You just don't know why you're doing it. And everything is fine because the inner transformation is occurring, whether you know it or not. And when that inner transformation occurs, you only have one more thing you need to do. And that's practice the precepts, the 5 precepts, the 10 precepts, or the 227 precepts of a Theravada monk. And the 5, 10, and 227 precepts are focused on what you say and what you do, because you've already worked on what you think and what you don't think and what you know and what you don't know. And now you're living like a Buddha without being a Buddha. You know, it's really hard to be a Buddha. It takes many hundreds and thousands of lifetimes to finally achieve Buddhahood. But it only takes us a short while to be a little better than we used to be, a little more skillful and compassionate than we used to be, a little wiser in what we think, say, and do than we used to be. It's available to all of us right now, as long as we don't know. We don't need the destination. There's no place to go. There's nobody to be. There's nothing to do. That's the weird part about enlightenment. You don't go any place to find enlightenment. You simply realize you're already there. Like if I wanted to be in Ventura today, I'd say, wow, I wish I was in Ventura. And then I look around and I go, hey, I am. How cool is that? And that's like enlightenment. You know, I really want to be enlightened. I have that destination addiction. I can hardly wait because I know once I'm enlightened, everything will be just the way it's supposed to be. And we're already there. We made it, all of us. All we need to do today is to wake up to the fact that we're there. And all this meditation and all those precepts are designed to point us in that direction. Point us into the direction of we're already there. And now everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be. But we don't stop, because even though people are suffering, and that's the way it's supposed to be, we can reduce or end that suffering of other people. So our work is not done. when we become enlightened, when we have compassion and wisdom. Our work now focuses on the other who just became us. And we can say to ourselves, yes, that's the way it's supposed to be. How can I make it better? How can I help reduce suffering? How can I be of service? How can I practice even the smallest kindness, which is so much bigger than the best intention? How can I practice the smallest kindness? And so when we start to think again, it's very focused on, I am going to be of service. And that's a wonderful way to think about yourself in the world and the world itself. And it all started because you decided one day to sit down and find the way in. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Kusala. It's wonderful. So let's turn within. Let's turn within and realize that there truly is nothing to do. That there's just showing up with what is and just allowing ourselves to be changed from the inside out, if that is what is to be. How wonderful it is to know that there is truly this one perfect life that is just so awesome and so beyond our current imaginations, but that is always working through us, working through the universe, doing what it does. And that we don't even have to like it. We don't even have to love it. It still does what it does. But I do call it love, and I call it grace, and I call it kindness, spirit, joy, wholeness, all of these things conspiring to create and to live and to move and inhabit its perfect being through each of us. Because truly, if there is only one, we can never be separate from that oneness. We are a part of that oneness, just as we are waves in the ocean and the ocean in the wave. We are that beautiful, beautiful space where spirit shows up and gets to express and play and enjoy its life through us and see the world through the lens of our eyes. And so I'm just so grateful for all of that. I'm so grateful to celebrate this and to speak about the wonders that can be wrought through this consciousness. The wonder of letting go. The wonder of being willing to know nothing. The wonder of being willing to surrender and allow spirit to guide us to the next right thing to do. The wonder of insight that is infinite, that always expands and always fills our hearts with more understanding and more compassion. And most certainly the wonder of compassion. The compassion for ourselves, the compassion for others, and the desire to allow that compassion to move through us, not to fix or not to help, but to serve all beings everywhere, all of the time, simply by doing what we're doing in small, conscious, wonderful ways and trusting that it is enough. And if we are to be led to more, then allowing that guidance to pour through us and allow us to be that which we already are. So I'm just so grateful to know these words, so grateful to know that they had a profound impact on everyone's life, that everybody who has listened to this has the capacity now to live life from a slightly deeper and sweeter and more infinite place. And that we can use these words to grow our hearts and to embrace the shenanigans of the ego and just hold it tenderly and smile at it. And to use these words to move into ever and ever greater service of all beings everywhere. And of course, including ourselves, in loving ourselves and serving ourselves as well. So again, I'm just so grateful. Grateful for this teaching, grateful for all paths to God. Grateful for churches, synagogues, temples, mosques, ashrams, fundamentalists, atheists, agnostics. I bless all of them. I bless everyone that I haven't mentioned. And with a heart that is so filled with gratitude, I say thank you so much. Thank you for this time together. Thank you for this insight and compassion and wisdom. Thank you for our lives. And I release these words into the divine mystery. And together we say, and so it is. Did you have something you wanted to say?
I did.
Okay.
I think I was just so excited about doing the offering.
I know, me too.
And there were so many points of Kusala's talk, and I think right now I'm feeling a lot of compassion, and I love our community because I'm living out that dream that you have, that you showed up at class without your pants on.
Without your pants on?
Hasn't everybody had that dream, like they show up and they don't know why they're the only odd person out and everybody else has got it going on?
I didn't hear the part where you said it was a dream. I thought you really did show up at a class without your pants on. I'm like, and I don't remember
I might
that.
have.
Okay, good to know. Okay.
If today is any example of my life, I think I might have.
But you do have your pants on, just so
I
you
do.
know.
I'm so happy about that. I
Yes.
don't know anybody's name. I'm on stage when I'm not supposed to be, but hey, it's shenanigans.
That's right. It's shenanigans.
And this is a place where we embrace that.
We embrace shenanigans.
So I invite you this morning just to take your offering as a gratitude, devotion, meditation, and know that we love you just as you are, and that this is the place that changes people's lives and makes everyone feel welcome. So I just invite you to place your offering over your heart and repeat after me. We trust in spirit.
We trust in spirit.
Love is the giver and receiver of all that we are.
Love is the giver and receiver of all that we are.
We offer this gift.
We offer this gift.
It is an outer expression of our inner abundance and compassion.
It is an outer expression of our inner abundance and compassion.
Our gifts bless many
Our gifts bless many
and return to us multiplied in miraculous ways,
and return to us multiplied in miraculous ways,
so that we may give again.
so that we may give again.
And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Lonnie.
You're welcome.
I love you dearly.
I'm so glad.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for all that inspiration before this song. And I want to thank you all for having me back again. It's always good to be back here. Again, my name is Jennifer Brizuela. And that first song I did was Crash Boom. It was an original song that I did, just a song of overcoming that resilience we have in us. And here, sometimes I'm referred to as the rapping harpist. So, this next song here is a rap. And this song was written by Chica. It's called High Rises. And she's actually nominated for a Grammy of Best New Artist. So you can check out that song. I'm going to do it on the harp with Chris also helping me out. And it's, again, it's just a song about listening inside, feeling where the voice, that's where the voice resides. That's where your choice is. So you can experience where you're going and just choose to be present within each moment. So here it is. And I changed up the words because just to fit my situation. I think hers starts out with little black girl from the South, little black girl run her mouth, this. And I was like, I was a very shy brown girl in LA. So you'll hear my experience at the beginning, and then we go in. So here it is, High Rises. Girl left to play. Little brown girl don't know where to go, cause she's so timid, so the teacher's assigning her friends. Insecure, but she won't say it out loud. All she wanna do is make her mama proud. She wanna be like the mother girls, they in another world, she just can't figure them out. Brown face, long braids, short frame, bright eyes. She wonders if they'll judge her for her size. She doesn't compromise. She's seen this world before. This child is wise, never busy, but her mind is occupied. She used to dream of high rises, but life is full of surprises. Talent comes in second place to perfect timing. Used to swear that I was ready, but back then I wasn't rhyming. Funny, hunger came from staying in my dorm and eating ramen. College had me stressing. College had me stressing. So Father, grant me a blessing. Path I'm on is lonely, so right now just help me feel your presence. Give me royal bars with the humility of mortal peasants. Pray that every L just stand for lesson. Call me Lauren as I stand on this hill. I begin to survey the field. I wonder just how far I'd get without a deal, cause anything I say is real and any line I spit is facts and any dream I have is valid, so I'm never going back. Listen to that voice inside. That is where the choice resides. You write the future, you know where it lies. I perceive judgment as angst disguised. Taking a risk will always yield a prize. People will tell us to follow our heart and then look at us crazy when we live our lives. My mom, this one's for dad, all the supporters that I ever had. This from my internship supervisor who said I would be nothing, but look where I'm at. Won't stop till I ain't got to look at the tag. Till we go out and eat and I pick up the tag. Took a leap on my dream and it's all I can see. I'm enjoying the scene and I'm not looking back, yo. Listen to that voice inside, cause that is where the choice resides. Listen to that voice inside, and that is where the choice resides. Sing it with me. Listen to that voice inside, that is where the choice resides. Listen to that voice inside, cause that is where the choice resides. Listen to that voice inside, that is where the choice resides. Listen to that voice inside, cause that is where the choice resides. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful. Okay, so I have some announcements for us now. So today's flowers, we are so grateful for the way the annual meeting turned out. It was just such an experience of joy for so many of us. And there were several people that were particularly instrumental in making that happen. I know everybody participated, but these folks really were just such a big part of getting that together. So we're dedicating the 3 bouquets, one to Lonnie Cassidy, who's the board president, one to Kathy Walker, who was our treasurer, who did the very challenging job of explaining the finances of last year, which, you know, during a pandemic is nothing to sneeze at. And then also our delightful Zoom host, Doreen Palermo, who is dematerialized somewhere. I think she went in the back. Doreen, you're getting the flowers. Okay. All righty. So we give thanks to all of them and to everybody who participated in our annual meeting. There are plans to have another quarterly meeting fairly soon, just so we can keep you posted as to what's going on with the church as we're going through this time of transition of slowly moving back into the physical space. Okay, and then second Wednesday is the kindness meditation. That is this week, and that's March 10th at 6:30 p.m. It's on Zoom, and the details of that are on the website. Peter Frank is facilitating, and the details again are on the website, which is www.VenturaCSL.org. Our wonderful Jennifer Hadras is starting the Essential Ernest Holmes class. This is the writings of our founder, Ernest Holmes, and he had a really good editor for this book, so it's really succinct and really wonderful to read, and Jennifer's a great teacher. That's 8 weeks. It starts in March. It starts this week, as a matter of fact, and it's 6:30 to 8:30 on Zoom, and there's information on our website about that, but it's a really good class. The book is wonderful, and Jennifer's great too. Okay, and then we have links for COVID support on our website. Particularly now we're focusing on immunization assistance. So if you need help navigating the website or what have you, or rides, we've got volunteers able to help with that. Also, coming up in April, we have really something kind of fun happening. I know people from all over the world from having some of the work that I do at Service Space with Brother Nipun Mehta. And I have two of my friends who live in Istanbul who are doing a class on Sufism and Rumi. And we have details coming on that soon, next week, but it's going to be on Saturday, April 3rd from 10 a.m. till 12 noon. And they're going to be teaching about Rumi and Islam and Sufism, and there's going to be some reading from my husband Hugh and some music from my friends in Istanbul. And I think there's time also for a discussion of some of the poems to help us gain insight as to what these poems mean, both on a sort of global level, but also on a personal level. So that should be super fun. And then after the service, we have 1-minute miracles, which is another name for prayer. Those are on Zoom, and Doreen is putting the link in as we speak in the Facebook comments, and you can jump on in there and get some personal prayer if that feels right to you. So I think that's it for me right now. I just want you to all have a fantastic day and take the words that were spoken and the music that was shared and all of the joy that we conveyed in this kind of goofy service with garlic on the floor and what have you. I just want you to take this into your week and just live like the truth is true, and just live with so much love and compassion for yourself and for all beings everywhere. Let's go ahead and pray, and I'll see you next week. Right. So we turn within. We turn within and just breathe into this sacred time that we have spent together, and know that this time is no different than any other time. It's just that we're focusing our attention on the sacred. We're focusing our attention on community and the love that we have for each other, and the kindness and the grace and the possibility that is possible for us. And so we allow this consciousness, this awareness to fill us, and to allow us to know that this truth is really true. That there is this wonderful, wonderful essence that we call life, this energy that we call source, that is ours always and that is always with us. And so today, as we go our separate ways, we bring this consciousness of source. We bring this consciousness of source and allow it to become matter within us, become flesh within us, and we dwell in the world doing good things as a result of our consciousness and as a result of our commitment. We bless all beings with our spiritual work. We exhibit exquisite kindness to the world around us, to friends and strangers, to loved ones, to family, to ourselves, to the animal kingdom. And we just feel that deepening sense of gratitude for all that is, for all of life, because certainly, most certainly, all of it is a gift. And so with that in heart and mind and being, we know that we go our separate ways, yet we're still connected. And we long for the connection of seeing one another next week as well. And so with a heart filled with so much love and so much compassion, so much joy and so much mystery, we release these words into the divine, and together we say, and so it is.